I am back. You are here. As in the internet, nobody's here. That would be ridiculous. Alright. Don't remember exactly where I left my funny code. So I'm gonna try transcribing some stuff. See what happens. My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Numenon, Sharlayan's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that. The archives of Numenon extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the great Google Library pale in comparison to Numenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Sharlayan is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I've dispatched Y'shtola and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alisei and Alphino will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Sharlayan history or forum policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they've found some promising tomes. Happy reading! Long ago, on an island in the northern sea, there lived a Rogadan man named by the name of Njunkemp. Njunkemp was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Njunkemp's crew hauled them aboard his ark. But the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Njunkempf wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Abalathia's spine. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Njunkempf gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers and abandoned the ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast, where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Sharlayan we live in to this day. Damn, that's a deep-ass library. Do I care to actually read? Why is nothing printing? That is concerning. Give it a little bit more time. Roads of Old, the Colony. And here we go. On the banks of the Thaliak in the Dravanian hinterlands, a Sharlayan colony once thrived. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th Astral Era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting, and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumors spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Sharlayans. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognize what had become a flourishing town as an official Sharlayan colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Sharlayan, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned to the subject of the motherland. In response, some Sharlayan inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Idleshire. Oh, that didn't even count. I didn't know like some of the books were fail. Stewards of Wisdom. During the chaos of the 6th Umbral Calamity, Archon Newcomb, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the northern Empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Sharlayans took to heart the words of their savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. On a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth in coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Sharlayan would live by their founders' teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war, and with knowledge deliver the world. Ooh, I learned something. I'm such a good learner. There's something I wanted to do. It's definitely not printing something. What's going on here? Memory processor, initialize character, blah blah blah. this guy. Console log. Text. Forever 20 summers. My beloved seekers of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health and neglected to feed and rest your body as you should? I too once engaged in such foolish practices, but one night, engrossed in philosophical study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mysteries that drive us to reckless abandon, we have so very few years of life in which to achieve our goals. Thus do I share with you this mantra: I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You could be 19, or 23, or 40, whatever age you are when you discover this manual. Let that be the age you aspire to remain. Through mindful, healthy living, will you extend the time available to spend upon your chosen research. Another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the greater truths you pursue. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets of maintaining one's physical condition from a biological, ethereological, and arcane viewpoint. Have you ever gazed at the skies above and contemplated the mysteries contained therein? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but of the vastness beyond, of the sun and the twinkling tapestry of the night. Some think the dome above us to be a finite space, yet amongst the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's depiction of a boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are few indeed who can explain in satisfactory detail why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was the technologists of Alag who came closest to understanding the laws which govern that starry abyss. It was they who launched Dalamud and sought to expand beyond our earthbound existence. Having read of their ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the distant past, that their positions continue to shift almost imperceptibly but measurably as we journey into the future? Would it shock you to learn that the stars drift further and further apart, and may indeed do so forever? Are you eager to learn more? Okay, so I'm still not getting any prints. Okay, so this one's not happening. So that means process voice buffer. Console log. Process voice buffer. Console log. Receive message. Excuse me. voice of a growing city. In the years which followed the founding of Charlian, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The larger number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Charlian would transition to a new form of government. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the forum as we know it today conceived and created. Okay, that one was important. Alright, so it looks like processing is happening. Let's go. Process. Buffer, combined messages. Bar get shorter or something? What was that? Huh. I don't know what changed, but alright. Have a sickly green hue. Okay. Take something and something. Branville. This person's name is reference page? Oh, because it's a page. Oof. That's cute, I guess. Guess it seems to be processing more than I want it to, for one. Minutes and milliseconds. Max number of voice messages to buffer before sending. I don't think that's the issue. What is causing this? Oh, 2 seconds. This is what the issue is. Let's do 20 seconds. I don't know why I'm not trying to fix the other issue, because that clearly wouldn't change much, but whatever. All it's gonna do is make the messages longer. It's not gonna successfully return a response, but whatever. Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I'd borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Kryl should also be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mentioned the final days specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if they are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate, plenty of comfortable places to read, and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Sharlayan, we were not to be allowed across the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position and that of the Forum will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend that rift one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, G'raha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Sharlayan, yes, but I was born rather farther away. In the southern reaches of Ilsabard, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite the island of Thavnir. The Alligans founded a city in that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikote to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the Fifth Calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Allagan technology from being misused. Isn't Corvos under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes, some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region Locus Amonis. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allagan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Allagan Eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Allag. As the last child born with the Allagan Eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Baldician, who had me registered as a Sharlayan citizen. I never even considered. Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louisoix, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Sharlayans than you might think. Yet, regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient perspicacity, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. 'Tis exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Hear, hear. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the foreign's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books. Fluffy, more company should be arriving any moment now. I forgot to open my window. Alright, so I'm getting a bunch of things are going into here. Llama processor, send message. The fuck is the llama processor? Oh, here we go. Send message, prompt, message, JSON stringify, prompt. This llama process, standard in write message. Spawn Python, llama to process. Llama to response dot py. So standard in. Standard error. Console log llama process standard out llama result. Darkness. Darkness. Live transcription is transcribing. Wait at the designated location again. Hello, Kryl. We've returned with our selections. Although I must say, the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Kryl has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers on the Umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amalrath firsthand, and fear I may be overlooking critical details. My thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first. What kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? Complete destabilization of creation magics. I vaguely remember that. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until this present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Y'shtola surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Ascians. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? They say it began with a keening sound from the land itself. Ah yes, the Amoratines spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course, thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. But it seems that each and every one of the catastrophes was preceded by this ominous noise. Eventually it resounded all across the star, and not even Alra was spared. So the ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of Numenon's mammoths and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take? They summoned Zodiark. Yes, with Elidibus serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiark brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiark, a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have, had Vinat and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Hydaelyn. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telophoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs, is forcing people to summon primals, a kind of catalyst. Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech, a convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Y'shtola, but 'tis time we begin studying these research papers. You are... Responses. You're in the middle of a conversation with a group of people when one of them mentions the concept of flow. What do you say? I give a sly grin as I interject into the conversation. Oh, you're talking about flow? Well, I think that's a bit of a load of hooey if you ask me. I mean, come on, how can you really achieve a state of flow? It's just a myth perpetuated by those tree-hugging hippie types who want to escape reality. Leaning in. But hey, I'm always up for a good chat about concepts and ideas. Let's hear what you have to say. My tone is playful and mischievous, but I can't help but feel a twinge of curiosity about the topic. What a funny response. Mentions the concept of flow. I'm assuming it invented that and then sort of regurgitated a little bit of a response. Alright, so I think the issue with that... Oh, I didn't switch the scene. That's okay. I remember now that I changed it to sending back all of the responses it generated. So I was unsure if it generated multiple responses. Looks like it didn't, but it changed the name from response to responses, which, you know, I had to change how I called it. Am I the last? I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Oriange learned of the source's reflections from the Gerun oracles for its potential to cause panic and confusion. That tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Google Library. It is even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason, then, that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet, when you confronted Master Fourchenol with knowledge of the Telepheroi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us, which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior, it is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. Something I said was heard as in the Great Google Library. I'm not sure what that could have been. I labor for what feels like an age as Y'shtola's research assistant. Oh dear, you look exhausted. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? Then the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, a Mehmet at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. You might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Ready for a tea break, Fluffy? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables, and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. $5.15. So yeah, it's not an upgrade for this stuff yet. It really takes a long ass time for a response to be generated. It's possible that the stuff I did to make it a low priority is the cause for that. Which I guess is fine. Well now, this is rather a lot of stern faces. Are my library books overdue again? Not to our knowledge. We're associates of Prial of the students of Baldessian. We seek passage to Thavnair, and understand that you can assist us. Ah, the test subjects. Welcome, welcome. Test subjects? Oh, you hadn't heard? Well then, allow me to explain. So, in order to travel to an aetheryte, you ordinarily need to be attuned to it beforehand. Otherwise, you can't use it as a beacon to seek out while you're a mess of ether hurtling along the lifestream. An inconvenient but incontrovertible limitation of aetheryte teleportation. But what if I were to tell you that there's a way to travel to an aetheryte without being attuned to it? A way to teleport instantly to places you've never been. For long years, we've labored to make such travel possible, that people might move about more freely. And we've finally done it. We've created a new kind of aetheryte that doesn't require attunement. Truly, that changes everything. Well, my language may have been a bit misleading. The user need not attune to these aetherites, but the aetherites themselves must have been pre-attuned to each other, thereby facilitating travel between the 2 points. But it just so happens that of our first test pair of aetherites, one has been installed here in Sharlayan and the other over in Yedlamad, a port town in Thavnair. As you may know, our nation has long maintained strong ties with Radzat-Han, and indeed, we owe much of this breakthrough to the contributions of their alchemists. So to sum up, we're to test these aetherites. How fortuitous for you. I should mention that an accident has impaired my ability to channel ether. Will this be a problem? Not at all. As a matter of fact, you might say these aetherites were made for people like your good self. The magics imbued within will whisk you away without any effort on your part. A veritable dream come true, and far be it from me to worry about such things. But do we have permission to make use of your shiny new invention? The only permission required is yours. So, assuming you're willing, we're all set. It may come as a surprise, but we actually struggle to find test subjects. Most people seem to have an unreasonable fear of their souls gradually disintegrating as they drift helplessly in the life stream, in the statistically unlikely event that something goes awry. But it's plain that you aren't most people. Mistress Krile truly knows how to pick 'em. If I might change the subject, our Master Wilfson and Mistress Bloida not present today. Oh, you didn't hear. They've recently resigned their posts. Their expertise was needed elsewhere. A large-scale project helmed by the Forum itself, as I understand, but I'm not privy to the details. I see. Any other questions? No? Then let's get up going before you change your minds. Please see to your preparations and head outside to the Aetheryte Plaza. I'll be along shortly. Let's see what this blue quest is. Diminutive Gleaner. Do my eyes deceive me, or are you Fluffy McGee Orkson? Well, as I live and breathe, it is you. Ha! I knew I'd be the first to track you down. Who's the guild ship's top hunter now, eh? Wait, you have heard of guild ship hunts, yes? They're not so different from the hunts you're familiar with in Eorzea, as I understand it. I'd wager they're rather more challenging, but an adventurer of your caliber would never turn down a challenge, would you? No, you would not. Pray, speak with Northota at the Peristyle to register your interest at our earliest convenience. Oh, something happened. What do you do when you see someone you don't like in the chat room? A. Ignore them and pretend they're not there. B. Start a fight with them. C. Try to pick their brain and have a deep conversation. D. Try to make fun of them and get the rest of the group to join in. E. Leave the chat room and come back later when the person is gone. And they pick B. Start a fight with them. As Buddy, you can't help but notice the newcomer in the chat room. They seem to be trying to insert themselves into the conversation, but you're not having it. You take great pleasure in picking fights with people you don't like, and this stranger is no exception. Hey, what makes you think you can just come in here and start talking like you belong, you sneer? Don't you know who I am? I'm Buddy, the king of this chat room, and I don't tolerate any unwanted intruders. The stranger looks taken aback by your hostility, but you don't care. You're on a roll now, and you're going to keep pushing their buttons until they leave. Do you A. keep taunting them and try to get a burp? Response character Erebus? What? Character Erebus. Interesting. Huh. Well, it's certainly not what I was hoping, but it is also certainly better than what I was getting before. So, something. I'm Northota. If you come to place a bounty on an unruly beast... By the scholar, you're Fluffy McGee. I was half convinced I'd set the others an impossible task, asking them to find you. The Gleaners Guildship has begun posting hunt bills, you see, in the hopes that capable individuals will take up arms to lighten our ever-increasing load. Unfortunately, capable individuals remain the sticking point. Few hailing from our fair polis are willing to take up arms, let alone able to stand against the more fearsome specimens. You, however, have the experience and the grit that we need. When I heard that you had arrived on our shores, it was music to my ears. You didn't work for free, of course. We've done our research, and the rewards we offer are as fine as any you'll find abroad. The currency we employ is a relic of times when Gleaner was a great deal less figurative. So you may find it somewhat eccentric, but it's as good as Gil here. Speaking of eccentric, it should be noted that the majority of our clients are scholars. You probably won't have heard of half the creatures they send you after, but I find it's best not to worry about that overmuch. Slay beasts, collect samples, try not to think about the long-term effects of touching said samples, and get paid. Simple, no? That being said, I wouldn't dream of throwing you in the deep end just yet. Let's have you start off with some junior marks so you can get your feet wet. Okay. Oh. What's just down here? Okay, so this time it heard me reading, I guess. Wait. It says to TTS, can someone tell me what the last end is? And then in channel chat, so it makes sense that it doesn't really know what to do with that. Not sure what you're referring to. And then channel user 1, user is streamer. Oh, you're saying that now? Response. Not sure what you mean by last end. Could you explain? Beg pardon, good sir. I could scarce help but notice that sightseeing log on your person. Wouldn't happen to be the adventure my niece wrote about, would you? Aha, so it is you. Pleased to make your acquaintance. I am Babeth Ironheart, Milith's aunt and seasoned explorer. Be a dear and hand me that lock of yours. Milith told me all about how she helped you embark on explorations of your own. It's only right that I share with you some wisdom of my own. Let me see here. Oh, I can't forget to mention that. And done. You should be all set, dear. I've jotted down everything I've heard about the most remarkable vistas the realm has to offer. Of course, a few notes I've shared are not more than rumors, some describing locales so fantastical that I can barely believe they exist. But as I always say, the true joy of exploration lies not in the destination, but in the journey. So go forth, dear, and see what sort of journey these hints take you on. That sightseeing log of yours won't fill itself, you know. So my pipeline is definitely working. It's just a question of if I want to use the Llama model, Llama 2 model, I want to try GPT-2 again, or I want to look into how much an API call would cost. That last one, honestly, is probably the only one that would respond quick enough to be conversational. As busy as ever, I see. How very Charlian that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Telophoroi. We might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Okay, Alisai is following me now. Sure. Alright. Bum, 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 bum. Here's a bunch of code. And here's a response with a short-term memory, which I don't know how I feel about that, but I should probably summarize the short-term memory, which I do have a summarizer. It appears that I am getting a somewhat valid response from Llama 2. However, it is not really matching my requirements. Do you think the model and prompt can be tweaked to better accomplish what the prompt is requesting? Here are a few suggestions. Simplify the prompt structure. Okay. Can you give me to be changed to accomplish those changes. Here's memory processor. Doing something or other. What is this? Llama processor. And Python also. Alright, let's see if that broke everything or if it still works. Give pretty much even odds on either. Alright. Hirondiere. Wait, what is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We were simply wondering if you knew of the Telophoroi. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear, and... Wait, you're that House Leveilleur girl, aren't you? And this man with you is obviously a foreigner. I'd heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims, and here you are giving truth to the rumor. I'll thank you to leave me be. I've naught to say to the likes of you. Well, I must apologize. 'Twas foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come, Fluffy. Bum 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 bum. Hildois. Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Pray, excuse the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Telophoroi and their unconscionable plans. My goodness, if it isn't the young Miss Lavallure! My apologies, but I work in the offices of the Forum, and if word reached Master Forchenal that I was helping you... I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. Bum. Welcome, sir. What can I offer you today? Wait, is that Mistress Alice I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Meet Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion, in between lessons in the studium. That seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphino had set sail for Eorzea, but then you never came back. Lately, there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything all right at home? It's complicated, and I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is House Leveilleur. No matter how discreet Master Forchenal may have been, news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now, of all times? We have questions, and only Charlene has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days? What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. That's what you're here to find? Information on this apocalypse? Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me. I wish there was more I could do to help. but maybe there is. You're a visitor to Charlian, aren't you? Then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes needs to go. Tea set is for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. The omelette is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of hers. Behind them, you should see a Mikote gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck! Wait. This response I got. No, it looks okay. This response is so weird. Keeps returning this multiple choice format. Even though that has nothing to do with the text being sent in the prompt. Process buffers. Minor adjustment to discourage multi-choice. Okay. Give that a shot. I guess this is the chatty group. Oh, my tea set. Lovely, thank you. Talafo who? Sorry, I've never heard of them, or their final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you wanted to hear about ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, common or esoteric, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. Fair, fair. Gisla wanted The omelet, I think. Ah, finally. 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's dig in. No time to waste. What? The Talaferoy? Ah, yes, I remember seeing the name in the latest Gazette. That and some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The Forum made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. Urbane banter with a smile. Last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. The final days is the first I've heard of it, although what that would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Sharlayan. Priceless books, unusual live specimens, and so forth. So named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which was missed. Aye, by all accounts, gleaning is a most meticulous and demanding profession. If these Talaferoy make good on their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before. Not like this. Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Dickon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the Forum does have secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, that cup of coffee I promised. But let's enjoy our drinks somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their wagging tongues. She's so self-conscious. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. transcribing. Oop, press wrong. Item on my toolbar. I just started stream like an hour ago. I really wish instead I was eating a burger and maybe Oreos. It's hard to be a fatty. Yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Sharlayan? Grahas said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been, how being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
That sketchy
They
looking
must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos.
loot.
A vast complex beneath the island. Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Another multiple choice bullshit. Why does it keep doing fucking multiple choice? Should tell the others what we've learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead to Numenon, and I'll join you in a moment. Master Dickon will want his cups back. I don't know what I want to do about this. I guess I could just try some other model.
Right, we're all set. Just the four of you, was it?
3. I'm already attuned to the crystal in Thavnir.
You are? Oh, I would have preferred more test subjects. Oh, well, never mind. If our 3 travelers could line up here, please. Yes, right there is fine. Take a deep breath, and I'll soon have you soaring through the ether. Oh, and one last thing. You might experience a teensy-weensy touch of violent ethereal sickness. Good luck!
What?
Um, $3.21 billion. Is that what it says? Updated 5 days ago. Instruct. What does instruct mean?
Thavnir, home to city-state Rads at Khan. Rising from the southeast waters of the Bounty, this Isle of Plenty served as the battleground for a conflict between 2 peoples. Their cultures bled into one another until a unique amalgamation was distilled from the chaos, in a process not unlike their precious alchemy. Once solidified as a single nation, an adamant stance of neutrality would hold invaders at bay.
Oh, nice.
time.
Fantasy India. Just where I always wanted to be.
Now across this vibrant isle creeps a fog of malice. What choice do you have? What chance? Against such an insidious foe.
How's it going, Laugh? Nice, nice. For some reason, Windows refuses to leave my goddamn microphone volume alone. It's driving me goddamn wild.
Faces after a bout of bad
No,
shellfish.
that's a positive thing. It's driving me crazy. I don't know.
Let me bring you something to drink. That should help settle your bellies.
There was a note with Kryle's instructions. Don't let a Stinian roam the markets alone. He's alarmingly bad with coin.
You managed to will yourself to your feet, but given your condition, will you be able to reach Estinian in time? Not if I run off and do random shit. Actually, that's where Estinian went. Whoa. Okay. Doesn't want me to do that, I guess. You there. I need 3 drinks, something that helps with ether sickness. But by the Manasya, a traveler, greetings. Greetings and welcome. You are wise, good sir, to come to me. My special Amra Lassi, made with only the finest and freshest ingredients, is famed for calming unruly bellies. By way of a warm welcome to Thavnair, I'm pleased to offer it to you for the low price of 19,800 gil. For not 1, not 2, but 3 bottles. A bargain amongst bargains. Deny. I thought you could barely stand. What do you need to tell me that's so urgent? Starting off with a little bit of slapstick humor. Wait, I shouldn't buy the lassie. This merchant is swindling me. What? Sincerest apologies, sir, but I appear to have my prices confused. It's actually 1,800 gil. 19 gil for the 3 bottles of lassie. That confusion would have been quite costly for both of us. Very well then, your coin. Here, a bottle for each of you. Take them to the others and get some rest. I'll be back after I've explored the town. Fuck. It's a gated repo. I need to apply to... Dang it. Praise be to the 12. My stomach doth loosen its death grip. My heartfelt thanks to thee and Estinian, and to the fine fruits of this land. You were in time? Excellent. You spared us to Taru's wrath. Sweet, sweet release. If you haven't already, you should have yours too. Right, I'm ready to get on with it. That lassie truly worked wonders. Back on your feet, I see. Thy hair. I've bound it. 'Tis the most I could do against this heat, short of shedding my armor. May I ask where you got the cord for it? Local vendor. The man said it's a Thavnarian weave, tough and not easily unraveled. And how much did it cost? 9,400 gil. A steal, I was told. 'Tis nothing fancy, but I've always valued function over form. That's incredible. I dare say not even Alphino could hold a candle to you. It's not uncommon for merchants to set their prices high, but doesn't it seem excessive here? Are all Hannish merchants so unscrupulous? One mustn't be too quick to paint a diverse people with a single brush. If such doth prove to be commonplace, I would presume it's symptomatic of societal instability. Claiming Thavnair as its dominion, the nation of Radzathan hath long thrived as a hub of commerce. In the beginning, there were the Arcasadora, a Matanga tribe indigenous to... Over time, they came to be joined by other races, and through their intermingling, a culture rich and distinct did emerge. From alchemy to textiles, the products of Hannish culture have come to be celebrated and coveted the world over, a development only aided by the nation's prime location as a waypoint betwixt east and west. All of this hath combined to make a trading power of Radzathan. Yet such a status cannot be taken for granted. Nay, it must needs be maintained through judicious governance and stringent regulation. Neither of which I see any evidence, given that merchants at a gateway town are free to fleece hapless travelers and tarnish the reputation of the nation at large. Just so, that opportunistic pricing is rampant doth suggest that oversight is much weakened, or mayhap that the people have fallen upon hard times. Whatever the truth may be, it would be prudent to ascertain the current state of affairs. Prudent and practical, aye. We've not to lose by learning more. So, ere we seek out Kryle's acquaintance, shall we see what information we can gather here in Yedlohmad? Excellent. We didn't exactly get off to a flying start, but we'll make up for it. Right, let us split up and make inquiries in town. Fluffy, the pier is yours. Once we have learned what we can, we group by the Aetheryte, off-putting though the mere sight of it may be. I'm looking for? Text generation. Why am I struggling to find this? Oh, here we go. How do I request access again? Facebook, please give me your machine learning. Give me, please. Affiliation. Job title. I guess I'm a AI developer. And use it. Gemstone trader. Crate is laden with fruits. They are on the verge of spoiling, as if they have been left too long. They should have built above water. Gazing out from the pier, you spy boats moored off nearby isles, with the silhouettes of larger seafaring vessels farther away. Compared to other ports you have visited in the past, there appears to be very little activity. What am I doing? Oh, recording my sales. Still, do it daily out of habit, though I don't know why I bother. Hardly sell anything these days. Business has never been this terrible, but I suppose things could be even worse. I could have a consortium to keep afloat, like Kalzah. I don't envy his position. Better to be alone with my little operation. I've come to realize. You're a traveler by the looks of you. If you have a moment, perhaps you could pay Kalzal a visit. He'd be glad for tidings from abroad. Like as not, you'll find him at the Salt Wind Sails, the harbor guild building across from the water here. Across the water from here? Whatever. What am I looking for? Oh. This guy. Kephareus. Well now, if it isn't a traveler, you're a rare sight in these unsettled times. People have been giving us a wide berth since that accursed tower suddenly appeared on Nuranair. If it just stood there and loomed ominously, perhaps things would be fine after a fashion, but no, it had to spawn fell fiends as well. We still have our lives thanks to the Radiant Host, but business is as good as dead. What'll become of us, only the gods know. I guess if I'm just waiting for Facebook to give me access to their large language model, maybe it's a good time to feed my cravings. The Dalmaskins aren't coming, but we already have everything they ordered. What are we supposed to do with it? I don't know, but yelling at me isn't going to help. All I know is that their plans have changed, and that's that. Look, you must have known this might happen. The Empire is at war with itself, and the provinces are in chaos. And then there's the tower sitting on our doorstep spitting out monstrosities. The city has its defenses, but we've been afforded no protection out here. We can't blame foreigners for not wanting to take the risk. Gah, this will be an enormous loss. Alright. Forget about the Dalmaskins. Surely some ships are still coming. We have fresh produce, handicrafts, medicines, all the perennial Hannish favorites. Our consortium works closely with merchants and artisans to supply only the finest wares. Quality is guaranteed. I know all these things, Kalzal. I do. Which is why I regret to say I have nothing for you. All voyages have been cancelled or indefinitely postponed. And you are? Wait, you're a foreigner, are you not? A merchant? Please tell me you're a merchant. Nope. Shit out of luck, buddy. I see. That's a shame. I'm sorry, but we're discussing important matters. If you need something, please talk to one of the others. Excuse me. My name is Matsya, and I'm here to see Kalzal. Oh, it seems he's busy. I'll come back later then. Funny, shy elephant man. Yes, can I help you? I remember seeing you back in the guild. You wanted to speak with Kalzal too, did you? I'm Matsya, a fisherman of Akyali, a nearby village. I sell my catch to Kalzal, who offers it to foreign merchants, but he hasn't bought anything for a while now. When I heard that the consortium had been struggling, I became worried and decided to come and see him. Just as soon as he's free, anyway. He's a hard-working man, and I dare not disturb him. If I may ask, what is it that you do? An adventurer, you say, and you travel the world helping people. Then that must mean you're great at dealing with strangers. Please, won't you teach me to be like you? You see, I brought some fresh fish with me. The portion I couldn't preserve, and I want to sell them. Problem is, I'm terrible with peeper. I've ever only dealt with Kalzal, and I can't talk to customers without getting my trunk in a twist. So please, as silly as it might sound, will you not peddle the fish in my stead, and show me how it's done? If you're willing, please let me know, and we can begin at once. Oh, access granted. Well, alrighty then. It seems like it's downloading properly. It makes sense that it would have a similar structure. You'll do it then? Show me how to deal with customers. I'm in your debt. Right, please try peddling my fish to, shall we say, 3 people here in Yedlimad. I will observe you and learn. Matsya is now accompanying you. Okay. I have an elephant man, elephant man, elephant man. Ismarana. Yes. Greetings, friend. How fare you of late? Greetings to you too. I suppose I'm well enough, given the circumstance. Things have settled down somewhat, but it was utter chaos when that tower first appeared. Everyone grabbing whatever they could, trampling over each other to get to the city. Many remain there for now, but I could not stay away. Had to come back, continue with my life such as it is. Whether or not it was the right choice, only time will tell. Just no place like home, but don't do anything dangerous, eh? Oh, trust me, I don't. I make sure to keep well clear of the tower, and when more monsters emerge from it, I heed the Radiant Host's instructions. I hope they deal with it soon, so we can get back to our normal lives, to the days when you could earn as much as you gave, and tuck into a meal satisfied that you did good work. Seeing a bunch of random errors, but they all look like warnings, not errors to me. Speaking of meals, why not have some fresh fish today? Fresh fish, you say? Oh, you're a fishmonger. When you bait me like that, how can I not bite? Very well, give me some of your fish. Thank you for your custom. The catch of the day is Shallow's cod, delectable stewed in coconut milk or baked with a sprinkle of salt. Bum, bum, bum. Hawker, are you? You sell fruit by chance? So, I want to buy some Amra. Let's say a dozen. They don't need to be export quality. What do you need so many Amra for? Why, for eating, of course. It may seem like a lot, but of late I go through that much in no time at all. I am a stock taker by trade, but with no vessels coming these days, the wares are beginning to pile up. By the same token, nothing is coming in from overseas, but not a day goes by that someone doesn't come asking when the next shipment is arriving for this and that and this and that. All of it wears me down, and I find myself feeling constantly hungry. I know how you feel. Thank you. Pity you don't sell fruit, but I enjoyed our little chat. Took my mind off my troubles for a moment. Dun dun dun. Never mind. If nothing else, you left her with a positive impression. Let's move on to the north side of town, shall we? Jump, 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 jump. What is it? If you don't mind, I'm rather busy. Oh. Either sickness. No, nothing so unusual. In my hurry to get back to work, I just ate a little too quickly. Should savor your food. Would that I could, but I can't afford to be idle. Like us not, circumstances will surely get worse before they get better. So I'm working as hard as I can while I still can. The better to be prepared. How do you intend to prepare? Stockpiling supplies. For that, I need to earn coins so I can buy food, medicine, what have you. Do we have anything suitable, Matsuya? Oh, we do have some dried products too. Thavnarian cucumber and puff-paya fish. They're the last of the batch, so if you're interested, you can have them for a discount. Truly, by all means, I'll take them all. You remembered what I told you earlier, that I preserve what I catch, which serves to show the importance of being attentive. Thank you so much for your demonstration. It was a truly eye-opening experience. Come, let us return to the pier. So I got some kind of a response. 2 hours ago, you introduced the topic, the ethics of artificial intelligence. Can AI systems truly be intelligent? And garnered 3 responses from users. 2 hours ago, you replied to user AI Skeptic with, think that's a pretty weak argument, AI Skeptic. If an AI system can perform tasks that are indistinguishable from human performance, does it truly follow that it's not intelligent? Intelligence isn't just about processing power or algorithmic complexity. It's about the ability to adapt, learn, and make decisions that take into account the nuances of human blah blah blah. What did it... It just made up some fucking weird ass story. adjustment to maintain focus. Interesting. Wonder what that means exactly. Thank you so much for showing me how to talk to customers. You managed to sell to 2 of the 3 people you approached. Adventurers do indeed have great conversational skills. Watching you at work was very enlightening. By applying the lessons I've learned, I hope to one day peddle as well as you. Still, there's only so much I can do alone. I hope that things will return to normal for Kazal soon. I thought I heard a familiar voice, and who should it be but Matsya? Kazal, have you finished your business at the guild? So you were there too. Forgive me, try as I might, I can't find any buyers. With no ships coming in and hardly any going out, there simply aren't any options. At this rate. So you can't buy my fish anymore? I'm sorry, Matsya. I truly am. But for now, you must peddle your own goods. But by myself, I can't. I want to help you, I do, but as it stands, I can barely help myself. I've poured my all into the consortium, and I'll be damned if I let it fall apart. I have friends and families depending on me, and I can't, I won't fail them. The sisters as my witness. Kazal. Not to worry. Using what I've learned from you, I'm sure I'll manage. Somehow. Well, I had best return to my village. My thanks again, and please take care on the road. Welcome to Intellectual Wasteland, where the conversation is as shallow as the ocean and the ideas are as deep as a kiddie pool. I'll be your guide, Buddy, the snarky sage. So, what's on your mind? Or should I just make some up for you? Alright, buddy. Talk to me about Fantasy India in the Final Fantasy universe. What do you know about that? I see you've been busy. Managed to learn a tidbit or two, I trust? I see. We also heard that the tower is affecting many locals' livelihoods, but to think that it would be to such an extent. You managed to sell to 2 people and still managed to insult me with your terrible sales pitch. I hope you're planning on doing a lot of practice before you try to peddle your wares in the real world. Another response, yeah, because nothing says great conversation skills like a condescending tone and a complete lack of empathy. I'm sure your customers were just thrilled to be spoken to like that. Did you? Well, this is certainly an improvement from the earlier conversations. It's responding to the stuff I said. kind of making up something. I see. We also heard that the tower is affecting many locals' livelihoods, but to think that it would be to such an extent. Another notable, if not wholly unexpected, discovery: disappearances and kidnappings are disturbingly commonplace. As before, the culprits are almost certainly tempered Imperial soldiers. And as before, they mean to use the faith of their hapless thralls to call forth a lunar primal. Business as usual for the Telophoroi. Seems like this model is better at following instruction. Should we perhaps try a more robust prompt again? Sounds like this model is indeed better at following more structured prompts. It might be worth trying a more robust approach while keeping the prompt clear and instructive to ensure it delivers the desired output. Slight tweak to generate response. Not sure what I changed there, but okay. Alright, trying another go round. That Matsya fellow you were helping, he's Arcasadora, is he not? Apparently, 'tis only exclusively his people that are being kidnapped. Should he be traveling alone? If summoning is this perpetrator's aim, it doth stand to reason that Arcasadora would be their primary targets. For 'tis the faith of their ancestors which prevaileth in this land, and many are devout adherents still. We'd better go after him. Akyali lies to the west, as I recall, the same direction as Kryle's acquaintance, incidentally. It's settled then. Keep your eyes peeled while we make for the village. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Ogle. Why are there Matanga everywhere? Has this town fallen? Oh, your face. It is known to me. You were the warrior who fought for the mall in the Nanadam. I am Ogul of the Katayin. It was your bravery and skill which inspired me to embark upon my own hero's journey. Yet now I have foolishly blundered into a den of Matanga. Why do these others walk without fear? Do they not care if they are slaughtered? The Arcasadar are a civilized tribe. I do not doubt your word, but grandmother would always warn me, if you encounter a Matanga, you turn tail and flee as fast and as far as you can. Her tales were awful and bloody, and so now the very sight of them, the terror rises unbidden. No, I cannot stay here. I must earn enough coin to buy passage from this nightmare island as soon as possible. I beg of you, stay at my side for a time, just until I meet with this Kankana person the sailors told me about. She is said to have work that pays a fair wage, so I'll see what she has for me. I wonder if Kankana is gonna be an elephant. What the hell is this prompt? Okay, so I got. So, buddy, so what's on your mind? Don't waste my time with small talk. Let's get to the interesting stuff. Your name. Hey, buddy, I've been thinking about artificial intelligence. Do you think it'll surpass human intelligence? Oh, great. Another amateur philosopher wanting to tackle the hard questions. All right, let's get this over with. AI surpassing human, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm shaking with anticipation. A whole goat round to look forward to. I'm glad you finally decided to remember my face. I was worried I'd be completely forgotten in the midst of your vast and intricate world building. What? Oh, a brave Katayan warrior. How quaint. I've been fighting for the mall's food court since I was knee-high to a goon. What? I'm still standing. What makes you think you're the first Katayan to embark on a hero's journey here? Bravery and skill, you say? Ha! I've seen your kind get slaughtered by the Arca Siddharth's accountants. You're not even on their radar. What the hell are you talking about? I have absolutely no idea. I see Matsya nearby, but the elevated ground up ahead may provide a better vantage point. About the Dusk Mother, no one told me Kankana was a Matanga. Could I ask you to speak with her in my stead? Hello. Welcome to Yilhamad, traveler. I am Kankana, and it is my job to assign the right work to the right workers. Might I have your name? Oh, grandmother, why? Why did it have to be a Matanga? Is your companion quite all right? Ah, an understandable reaction. The Gajasura tribe have done much to strain the reputation of our people. You are looking for work, though, yes? Many have been forced to take what they can get since the troubles began, so I'm afraid all the simple jobs are gone. As for what's left, I only have tasks fit for seasoned fighters. Does that sound like something you could do? Fighting. I can fight. Unless you doubt, blah, blah. Not familiar with the name, but you sound formidable indeed. Why don't we start you out on escort duty? Then, a group of artisans set off to harvest materials and ask that I send my prospective protectors their way should I happen to enlist any. What? They already set off. It's our duty not to escort them. There's to be a ritual dance performed in Kaja's footsteps. They'll need incense and costumes for the dancers and such. The entire thing was decided rather suddenly, so there was no time to waste. And these artisans you speak of, do they also include Matanga in their number? It was an Arcasadora who submitted the request. I hope that won't be a problem. Nope. Oh, not at all. I look forward to fainting at the feet of my most feared enemy. Fluffy, I cannot do this alone. Pray lend me the strength of the victor of Naadam, and half the reward for this task will be yours. The artisans didn't plan to venture far. Leave Yadelmad to the west, and you should soon come across your employer. Then that is where we shall meet. You will find me there, yes? The AI just called me the Great Italian Lawyer, and I have no idea why. Ah, you must be our belated escort, yes? Glad to have such courageous, is your companion not well? She seems a touch shaky. Of course, I should have thought of it before. I shall harvest the necessary ingredients while the artisan stays here. That way I have no need to fear him, being harmed. Perfect. I must say, this is less than ideal. My people are already scattered across the wilds, and I wanted someone to roam around and ensure they were safe from attack. Is your friend perhaps frightened by Arcasadara? I have met such travelers before. Well, no matter. If you could patrol the area as I asked, I must attend to my own harvesting. Ogul has run off into the wilds alone. Keep an eye out for her as you continue your patrol. Oh, big angry elephant. You must think me foolish. I was so absorbed in my task that I failed to notice the ground shaking at their approach. Still, my injuries are light, and my satchel is full. Thanks to you, I think I can make it back to town in time to meet the others. What happened? Did you slay the beast? That was a near thing. I took the first one by surprise, but the second, knowing Matanga stood at my back, my mind froze and my body refused to obey. Grandmother taught that we should let fear wash over us like water, but to my shame I could not have failed her more thoroughly. Not to sound ungrateful, Fluffy, but why did you follow me? we were to patrol. Forgive me, I should have waited for orders, instead of running off alone and putting lives in peril. Come, we should return to our employer. I want to be sure that the wounded man reached safety. I'm starting to enjoy the responses from this. It feels very arbitrary, but alright, I want to max new tokens to limit over explaining. Can you try rewriting the prompt with the more complicated instructions? I especially like sarcastic, slightly engaging enough to continue the conversation. Concise and clever, avoid rambling, storytelling, asking questions unless it serves a sarcastic point. Goal is to entertain while mocking the content of the message. Sender without sounding blah blah blah. What? Hello, Luna Martinez. How's it going? I'm currently being distracted by trying to make an AI friend to hang out with me on stream. Make sure to include context explaining how the voice fragments are separated by two or more fragments A, B, one statement. And how the both the chat and the voice messages are not necessarily directed towards the AI, indicate in a consistent format whether the response should go to TTS chat or chat messages are formatted channel dot username message. Explain that in the prompt also. Alright, let's see how this does. Much bigger prompts. My colleague told me of his rescue. Although we had hoped for an escort from the start, imagine if you hadn't come at all. I've sent him and the others back to our workshop, so consider your duty with us complete. You have my thanks. As for your payment, that you can collect from Kankana. Right, I suppose we report to Kankana then. Ah, there you are. Your employer expressed satisfaction with your work, so congratulations on a job well done. As a response to the recent chaos, the upcoming ritual was hastily planned, to say the least. As a consequence, the artisans have been hard-pressed to make everything ready. But when times are hard, the people of Thavnir rely on such traditions to renew their faith and bolster their hearts with the teachings of the divine. The death of an artisan would have thrown the whole thing into disarray, and thus your rescue was timely indeed. Please accept your payment, half each as agreed upon. Are you interested in further work? I may have something for you, if so. It's blue, but not for a flight piece. Ready to tackle another job, then? This one was registered by a local fisherman, asking for help with marauding monsters. Ordinarily, the Radiant Host keeps the worst of the wildlife in check, but these days, there just haven't been enough blades to spare. You'll want to speak with the fisherman himself for the details. I couldn't read the scrawl he left for a name, but he's an Arcasadora, and should be found fishing the waters from the western shore. Wait, another Matanga? Fluffy, you could always use more coin, yes? Because I could certainly benefit from your wise and experienced company. Fine pair of hunters we shall make. Come, let us speak with this Arcasadara fisherman. Okay. And away I go. How is he responding to? Get rid of this initialize character business. Not gonna save it yet because I want to see how he responds, but whatever. You do not see Matsya from here either. No, leave me alone. Help! Somebody help! Matsya's voice, and it came from the north. Jump, 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 jump. Man got murdered. Huh? Where did they go? Why are you here? I see you found him in time. You and your friends came to look for me. I don't know how to thank you. On my way home, I took a moment to stop and rest, think about what to do about, well, everything. And then those men came. Kidnappers. We heard that the Arxakadara were being targeted. We've considered it, me and the others, but fishing is all we know, the ocean all we have. I see, that's your decision to make, but you should take care not to travel alone. Question, if I may. "'Tis our understanding that strange fiends have emerged from the tower. What canst thou tell us of these beings?" "Not much, I'm afraid. I have no idea what they are. But I've heard that some bear an unsettling resemblance to our divinities." For that reason, some have taken to calling the tower Zot, House of Divinities in the Old Tongue, it means. But they're not true divinities. They're monstrous imitations that bring only blah blah blah. To have one's faith so twisted is a grievous indignity, and full justified art thou in thine outrage. Know that 'tis for no other purpose but to neutralize the tower that we have journeyed to this land. In time we may be forced to contend with these false gods, and thus we would learn all we may about them. Wilt thou not tell us of thy divinities and their true nature? Come all this way to save us? Really? To think I had you peddling fish? But to answer your question, yes, of course, we would gladly tell you about our gods. We, I say, because I'm a terrible storyteller, and I'd ask my fellow villagers to do it. So please come to our village. We're good, gods-fearing folk, all of us, and we'd be honored to share our knowledge. And fish. What sayest thou? Shall we pay visit to Akyali? Wonderful. Just follow the road west and down the hill. Can't miss it. So, 'tis the simulacra of Thavnerian gods that are being summoned. If any doubt existed before, there can be none now. The kidnapped Hanish are imprisoned in the tower. I pray that we will be able to save them. Though, indeed, saving them will mean confronting their false gods. Like as not, I, as you said, will do well to study their religious traditions. To Akyali. I am liking these responses better. I might even be tempted to plug the responses into their relevant pipelines or whatever. But little bit of tweak. Just a smidge. Alright, where did I embed the wait, it's here because this is where I'm making the buffer, right? Combined message, voice message buffer. Is it no longer message source channel username? I don't need any of these things. Part of one complete statement that might also be unrelated. feedback. And then I got distracted by actually reading the prompts. Maybe I'll have that feedback again. I don't know. Alright, Oxygadara Fisherman. What do you got to say? Come to take care of the monsters, have you? About damn time. We're fine when we're out on the water, of course, but even a fisher needs to walk on land every now and again, and the trails grow more perilous by the day. I've managed to sneak through without a scratch so far, but friends of mine haven't been so fortunate. Talk to the others around here. They'll tell you. I might need your help with that, Fluffy. Speaking with Arca Sodara is still challenging for me. Should we do this together then? Yes, fine. Good idea. They're really into this new mechanic. To hear about monsters. Only one of them was an Arxicadara. Story, when I left Akyali the other day, I almost walked straight into a fiend with a tongue as long as my arm. Barely escaped being gobbled up on the spot. Attacked by the wildlife. Oh yes, while I was hauling a catch back to town. Dropped the lot and fled for my life. The roads used to be safe enough, but now... So, do you understand now why we had to send for help? I understand that you have a problem with long-tongued brutes terrorizing your roads. Those creatures are what we call Pisaka. Without the army sending out regular patrols, it seems the inland monsters have begun expanding their territories. They've forgotten their fear of us, and that's when people start dying. I need you to remind them. Once you've found and slain these overly bold Pisaka, I ask that you bring me one of their carcasses. There is something I've been curious about. Very well, let us make of this a contest, shall we? The first to topple a Pisaka is the victor. Never seen anyone so eager to throw herself headlong into a Pisaka's jaws. Shouldn't you be chasing after her? Ah, first kill is mine. Grandmother always said that the hunter should be swift like a diving yole. Would you mind tracking down the other two? Once they saw what I did to their friend, they fled to the northwest. I can haul this lump back to the beach while you finish the hunt. You would be alone with an Arcosodora. Pah, my fear of Matanga has begun to ebb somewhat. Now go, before some other poor soul crosses paths with those monsters. Welcome to Akyali, my friend. The name means white beach, and there isn't much here save that. But please, make yourself at home. Your companions have already begun talking to everyone. Feel free to show yourself around, and do the same. Any one of us can tell you about our gods, but you could do worse than to start with Kanga and old Hasveda. They're free at the moment, as it happens. Channel name? Why are you even aware of a channel name? Oh, I see. Okay. Interested in learning about our gods, you say? Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Prick up your ears then and listen. In ancient times, the Manasua and the Mraga deities, who look like men and beasts respectively, were locked in conflict. Eventually, seeking the wisdom of the Manasya, the Mraga cast aside their own heads and took up those of their foes. Likewise, the Manasya coveted the might of the Mraga, and so they too resolved to trade heads. Thus were born new gods, possessed of both might and wisdom, and they ushered in an age of harmony between the two factions. From then on, as a sign of their esteem for one another, the Manasya have worn animal faces, and the Mgra the limbs of men. You wish to know about our gods? What a curious visitor you are. Most want fish. In any case, I'm happy to oblige. Now, I don't know how it is whence you hail, but our isle is home to many gods. They can be divided into two groups, the Manusya, beings of wisdom, who assume the form of men, and the Mgra, beings of might, who assume the form of beasts. Together they are divinities, their forms and personalities many and varied. Some are kind and gentle, others stern and temperamental, just like we mortals can be. All are possessed of great insight and experience, and by heeding their teachings, we strive to be better people and live better lives. There you are. Learned a thing or two about our gods, I trust. While you were off talking to the others, I remembered something that may be of interest. If you could let your friends know, I'll go and fetch it from my home at once. Apologies for the wait. I wished to show you this hanging scroll, which depicts 3 of our most revered deities. By all means, we should like to see it. They are Manusya. You heard about them already, yes? 3 sisters. The center one is the eldest, Sindaruva, a goddess of wisdom. For this, alchemists hold her in the highest. To her right is the middle sister, Sandaruva. As a goddess of wealth, she counts many traders among her followers. On the left is Minduruva, the youngest sibling. She presides over the crafts, and so is beloved by weavers. Although each is worshipped for different reasons, the sisters are usually portrayed together in these works, which people keep in their homes for good fortune. In like fashion to the Manusya, the deities of Eorzea preside over myriad aspects of life. And what of the Murga, if I may ask? The Murga hold power over nature. In ages past, they were revered as guardian deities in times of conflict. If you have occasion to visit our temples and ruins, you'll find their images there. Among them is a god who possesses a Gaja's head, and he is venerated as the progenitor of the Arcasadora. And then there are dragons. They occupy a special place in our history. You worship dragons, too. It's said that an ancestor of the satrap, that's the ruler of Radzatan, forged a covenant with a dragon divinity in ancient times. This divinity has since acted as the guardian deity of the satrap. Legend holds that if ever the satrap is in need, his dragon ally will fly to his aid. Dragon ally. Claimed to be a terrible storyteller, but nothing could be further from the truth. The passion you bear for your faith is plain to hear. I am confident that the information you've given us will serve us well in our efforts to deal with the tower. That is very kind of you to say. Thank you. I will pray for your success. Right, I believe it's time we sought out Kryle's acquaintance, an alchemist by the name of Nidhana. According to Kryle's notes, we're to find her at a place called the Great Work, further north along the coast. Did you say you're going to see Nidhana? Oh, how I envy you. She's brilliant and beautiful, kind and understanding. And did I say she's beautiful? I could stare at her dainty ears and adorable trunk all day. And those eyes! When you meet her, take care you don't drown in them. Ah, there you are. Your friend is stronger than she looks. We had to load the carcass onto a boat to carry it away. What of the Pisaka's pack meats? Did you find them? Both slain, then. That is good. Of course he slew them. Songs of Fluffy's deeds are sung across the steppe. My aching arms would like to know why you wanted the remains, though. Why else? To make use of its parts. The scales can be spun into silver, and the meat will fill our pots. The bones and teeth we can craft into hooks and other tools. We kill nothing for the sake of killing, even murderous monsters. The 2 bodies you left behind will serve as a warning to others of their kind. If it keeps them away, then no more blood need be shed. Seems our tribes share similar customs when it comes to using every part of the kill. As grandmother always said, be not wasteful of the lives you take to sustain your own. You are so very different from your kin, Gajasura. Oh-ho, so that's why you've been avoiding my gaze. If your only experience with Matanga has been our brutal cousins, then you'll find the Akasadara an agreeable lot of by comparison. Might even make a few friends, eh? Here's your payment, and well earned, I'd say. Another job finished. We should report to Kankana, that she might strike it from her list. Let me know when you are done basking in the success of our hunt. We can return to Yedla Hamad. Ready then? I've been counting the contents of my coin purse. I have enough to buy passage on a ship, but as for food and other supplies, well, I would feel more comfortable with the pay from one more job weighing down my belt. You see me through just one more, yes? At the very least, let us make our report to Kankana and ask what else she has on offer. Come, show me how fleet of foot you are, champion. Remove repeated. Quick program. I guess it looks like basically everything needs to be tweaked. I want to get rid of this. I want to set this to 300. Guess I did one more change, so I should do one more test. Fluffy, safely back from your work on the shore, I see. But where is Ogul? My coin purse. Some slippery son of a Zo snatched it from me. Brazen as you please. Lost sight of him in the market, along with all my worldly wealth. How am I to pay for lodgings or food? Already my belly cries in protest. Oh, you poor thing. And after all the good work you've done for us, you will stay with me tonight. I insist. You would take me in? I saw that. You looked me right in the eye, finally warming up to us. Arxadora, are you? Arcasodora. I can barely see you through the tears. But yes, maybe now I can stand to be in the same room as a Matanga. Some of them, anyway. I'm glad to hear it. Here, and I'll lend you a few coins as well. We can't have you running around without a guiltier name. Thank you. In fact, why don't we head to my house now, and we can fill that complaining belly of yours. You're more than welcome to join us, Fluffy. Man, she lives right on the water. Oh, Fluffy, something terrible has happened. I've been robbed. We saw a boy jumping out of the window as we approached, and when I looked inside, all my belongings had been turned inside out. Ogul set off in pursuit of the thief, but hasn't returned. Do you think you could catch up with her and see if everything's all right? I'll lock up here, and you can meet me back at my offices when you've found her. Man, everybody's getting robbed. Dang, I lost him. I swear it was that same Huron boy who made off with my coin purse. His size, his clothing, it all matches. I was willing to cut my losses and earn more gil, but this insult to my host, it will not stand. Grandmother always said to repay one's favors, and by the Dusk Mother, I mean to do just that. Will you help me find justice for Kankana? Then we start by asking around for more information. I have a feeling we are not the only ones who have fallen afoul of this thieving urchin. The swifter we act, the better our chances, yes? I say we split up, gather what clues we can, then meet back at Kankana's offices. This is second-hand information, mind you. But I hear that the thief you're looking for is barely more than a child. Sad, isn't it? How terrible things have become, that a young boy is forced into a life of crime just to survive. There was another robbery. I wonder if it's the same boy I found in my house the other day. He yelled that he was sorry. When I saw the desperation on his face, I didn't have the heart to chase after him. My AI friend thinks that I'm talking to him with all this reading of dialogue. Can't you tell the difference between Final Fantasy story time and actual, like, conversation between me and you? Silly machine. The recent rash of pickpocketing. Oh yes, I've heard several stories. They say it's likely the work of the same criminal. Okay. Well, champion, what have we discovered? So, our tale was a familiar one, and what I heard from the local children was even more disturbing. They tell me a man, a stranger, approached them with the promise of work and easy coin. I have no proof this offer is connected with the recent robberies, but it does seem suspicious. And if this stranger truly is recruiting young ones to steal for him, then he is the one I would punish for these crimes. We just need to find him first. Radzat Han closing its gates left many struggling to make a living, and the appearance of that ghastly tower sparked a chain of events that still has the radiant host spread too thin on too many fronts. Under the circumstances, a rise in crime is to be expected. We are fortunate, then, to have the two of you here to act on behalf of our law keepers. So please, accept this as payment. We cannot expect you to work on an empty stomach. A new hunt begins. Come, we must track down the one behind all this. But we're still not sure if this stranger is actually involved in the robberies, let alone where to look for him. There is a simple way to find out. We lure our boy thief into stealing from me again. If what we suspect is true, then he will likely take any ill-gotten gains directly to his patron. So I will play the part of an unguarded traveler, flaunting a heavy purse or some such. Fluffy, you keep watch for the little pickpocket, and be ready to follow him when he makes his move. Should he lead you to some shadowy figure, then I want you to herd them both to the west. I will circle around and be lying in wait to spring an ambush. That's really quite clever, Ogul. I'm impressed. Grandmother always said, if you want to catch the big fish, don't spare the bait. Same idea applies to slippery criminals. Right then, let us take our places in the town square and lay the trap for our quarry. I will try to make the lure something obvious so you can see it being stolen from afar. Big ass sword. I wonder if I'm gonna get robbed instead. Oh, okay, maybe not. I don't understand why I'm involved in this stakeout. Seems like she could have just chased after him, but whatever. Follow your quarry from a safe distance. The objective will end in failure if you are noticed, or if you fall too far behind. Should you fail, return to the starting point to reattempt the objective. Moshi mosh. Oh. Ooh, you're a proper little scoundrel, aren't you? Nice work. I'll fence the rest of the goods, and then you'll get your cut. God damn it. Rakashir, I told you to check for tails. Want your family to learn of our arrangement. Now run. Robbers have fled westward. Given the My apologies, Fluffy. I intended to circle around as planned, but when I heard how he yelled at the child, my rage could not be contained. Grandmother always said those who prey on the weak are undeserving of mercy, so I beat him senseless. Fool of a Matanga. When he awakes, he will find himself in the custody of the Radiant Host. Miss, I'm sorry you got hurt because of me, and I'm sorry for taking your belongings. Apology accepted, young one. It is a brave thing to admit when you are wrong. Help me explain the situation to your law keepers, and we can steer you back onto the right path. If you say so, miss. I will cart this refuse to the nearest guardhouse. Pray inform Kankana of our success. Oh, Ghoul, is everything all right? Fluffy told me what happened. All is well. They began interrogating the man before I left, and he was blubbering about where he stashed the stolen goods. The soldiers planned to recover the cash and return the items to their rightful owners. Praise be to the sisters. There were certain personal articles, things very dear to me, that I had thought lost forever. Oh, I should also mention Rakashir, our boy thief. It seems his parents were out of work and begging for scraps. His were crimes of necessity, and after seeing the considerable remorse he showed for his actions, I decided to let him keep the coin he took from me, as well as my share of the reward from the Radiant Host. As grandmother always said, children are the greatest treasure of all. I can hardly let him and his family starve now, can I? You're right back where you started. I can earn it back again easily enough, and since I have tamed my fear of the Arcasadara, there is no need to rush. I will take my time and explore all the wonders this island has to offer. Thank you, Fluffy, for staying at my side this long, but I think I continue on alone. Speaking of which, Kankana, have you any new tasks available? My dear Ogu, I have the perfect job for you. I actually have business with the employer myself, so we can head off together if you like. There you go, Fluffy. I hadn't forgotten your half of the reward. May your adventures be many and your hunts successful. I had to be up to drill a bunch of wood into the wall. And I'm probably going to do it again tomorrow. So I think I'm going to call it here. My AI is kind of working. I suppose. Tomorrow I want to look into memory. I suppose I don't need to have memory. It just seemed fun to like be able to build. I don't know. Inside jokes, I guess. So I'll look into it. And it seems like, well, sometimes it gets confused. It does still format some of the responses properly. So I can just scan for the properly formatted things. Although here it's the exact same fucking response, properly formatted twice, so that's a little. Is this llama server maintaining conversation context? Is it a fresh context each time? Okay. Well, I don't want to deal with that right now. Anyways, instead of just zoning out, staring at ChatGPT, I'll go get some food and probably sleep. Question is, do I want to go out and buy Oreos? Oreos! I really want to. Do I really want to? I don't know. Anyways, good night, the internet.